Okay, guys, we are live. We are back. The legends continue. The Premier League continues. The new season is upon us. Join us on the journey. Anything's possible when Liverpool are involved. I'm optimistic. I'm looking forward to it. And I've got two legends, the usual. They've signed their contracts. They're ready to rock for another new season. Keith at Eaton Ryan on Twitter and Ivan at Ivan Jennings. Welcome to the new season, gentlemen.
You all right? How's it going? Looking forward to it.
Can't wait.
I had a premonition on the bog the other day that we won it, so it just came to me, an epiphany. So I don't know. It's never happened before, so I don't know how much stock to put in it, but it just hit me like we're actually going to win this league.
Yeah, well, I want to win the league. I want the league this year. I want the fucking league. Champions League, you'd love it and all, it's great, but I want the league. I want the bread and butter. I want that sandwich. I suppose the Champions League is a bit of ham or a bit of meat in the sandwich, but the sandwich, the actual butter and the bread is the league, and I want it. Guys, obviously we kick off at 12:30 on Saturday, Craven Cottage, Fulham, Liverpool. I just did a video a few minutes ago on another channel, and we were talking about the game, and people talking about it being a banana skin. Listen, opening games in Premier Leagues, there's always one result or two results that are, how the hell did that happen? There's always a banana skin, but I think Liverpool would be too good, far too good for Fulham, and especially if they play football. They're very open at the back. They're not great defensively. Keith, I'd fancy us strongly to probably 2-3 past them Saturday. Would you?
Yeah, we normally navigate these matches quite well, to be honest with you, because of the preparation that goes in. I think sometimes we can kind of catch a couple of teams on the hop, like we've been doing full training sessions, then playing preseason games. We've got a strong, I suppose, although it was a preseason, although it kind of is a preseason game, the community shield. I think both teams went for that on Saturday. You could clearly see that. So I think in that regard, we should be, I think a banana skin would be for an underprepared side, but we look in good nick, to be honest with you. It looks like the preparation has gone very well. So we're normally ready for the start of the season. Some of the teams might take two or three games to get into it. We don't. We're typically on it from the start. So I wouldn't have a huge amount of concerns, to be honest with you. And because we haven't done a huge amount of changes, there won't be a huge amount of changes in the side, I don't think, in terms of who starts on Saturday morning. So I think we'd be very well set up. I think we'd be kind of close to where we were last year. I think we've trained well, we've prepared well. We've got a very strong, intensive game under our belt last weekend. All things point towards us being very ready for this match. The only thing, obviously, is that, invariably a 12:30 kickoff, we don't... it's difficult to get us up for it, right? That's probably the only fly in the ointment, if there is to be a fly in the ointment.
Yeah,
but I'm confident.
You'd be confident, Ivan. I presume you're confident as well.
Yeah, no, I'd agree with Keith. Like I think the game on Saturday was brilliant. Like it was like the previous game against them at the Etihad. It was just the quality of football was just incredible. And I think Klopp, when he was interviewed afterwards, he said the boys are ready. Yeah. So you look at that. What you think will be the first 11 and even the maybe 5 or 6 that he can now add in as subs. They look frightening. Absolutely. Some of the football on Saturday was incredible. And you're playing against the best team in the world. If City are the best team in the world, the football was absolutely incredible. Balls from Thiago from 30 yards to feet, beating players. I was so impressed with them on Saturday. They looked incredible. And I think what Nunez is going to add, I honestly think he's going to score 30 goals. I really do. And the goal that he scored on Saturday is the type of goal that we just haven't been scoring because we haven't had that type of player in the team. And it just takes so much pressure off the other boys that's playing beside him. We could score a hatful against them on Saturday now. So looking forward to it, and we should be really confident going into this season.
Would you go Salah, Diaz, Nunez?
Oh, totally. Absolutely.
Just lash them out of it. Go for it.
Like I think Diaz was up against Walker on Saturday, and Walker's a smashing footballer. Like he'd get into any team, even with his age. Like he's incredible. He's physical. He's fast. He's smart. He can attack, and it was a good matchup between the two of them. Diaz is going to roast 99% of the defenders he comes up against, He played really well on Saturday, but didn't get much return for it.
We're looking for a little bit more from an end product perspective, I think.
Totally.
I was just about to say I'd like a few goals from Diaz.
Oh,
this
absolutely.
Season.
Oh,
I think if we're to win the league this season, all the boys, we know Nunez. Well, I think Nunez, as you said, is going to score half of the goal. I think he's a 20+ goal scorer. Salah is a 20+. Just that's the way it is. I think Salah get the golden boot again, by the way. Forget about Haaland. Forget about even Nunez. Salah's the boy. Then I think the likes of Bobby, Jota, when Jota's fit, of course, come back in to be a great bonus. But Diaz, if Diaz can add 10 to 15, 10, 12 goals, that's a league-winning combination just there.
I think he's trying too hard. He looked sometimes like he's trying too hard. Like he does one extra turn. There was one chance that he had, I think, in the second half, where he turned inside for maybe the third time and gave it away, and he was snapping with himself, and you could see Klopp wasn't happy. So I think he's really trying to impress. And I think if he gets into the kind of run of scoring a goal every 2 games, that'll get out of his game. Do you know what I mean? Because he'll know this is it's normal for me now, and I just think he's trying a little bit too hard. Having said that, I've been so impressed with him. Like, he had an incredible, second half of the season and scored some really, really good goals, and some of his little flicks and turns are just incredible. I think he's going to be another one. But Dave, I think you're right. Salah looks on fire. He looks a different grade. Really, doesn't he?
He looks ready to roll, doesn't he? He looks ready to roll. We've seen the new Salah in pre-season. We've seen it. Seeing even in interviews that bubbly Salah's back.
Yeah.
It's, obviously a lot of things happened to him last year in his personal life with Egypt getting knocked out of the World Cup. We know how much he's a real patriot. Let's put it that way. The family man, all these things were going against him. Plus he had that contract thing hanging around his neck with that lunatic of a fucking agent, Rami Abbas. So all those things, he's got the deal. He's set up. He means business this season, Keith.
Yeah, and just before we move off Diaz, like Diaz ran like an absolute animal for 89 minutes. He was subbed in 89 minutes. Now, when he joined the club, he was doing that for 69, 70 minutes and then getting pulled off because he had nothing left in the tank.
I had the same chat with me, with young fella Keith. You're dead right. Like, he's the effort he puts in. I didn't see the kilometers covered, but to do what he did for the full match basically was just incredible. Yeah. Like, he's some engine.
And the defensive part of his game is phenomenal. He's chasing up and down that wing. He's up and down that wing. Like, realistically, they didn't get a look in down our right-hand side or down our left-hand side. They tried everything down our right-hand side, if you noticed on the match. The Diaz did a huge amount of covering work up and down the wing. So, but as I said, he went like that for 89 minutes. Whereas when he joined the club force, it was 60, 65, maybe 70 minutes, and he was shot. He had nothing left in the tank. Now, obviously, he's training with the lads. He's got a good pre-season under his belt. He can
great link up with Thiago on that side as well, though.
Yeah,
Thiago's back helping him on the left as well. I think they formed a really good partnership there defensively.
Yeah. So and then from on Salah, like, I think he's just absolutely primed, ready to go. To be honest with you, he just looks phenomenal. To be honest with you, he looks phenomenal.
He looks like the 44 goal season.
yeah, and he's not going to be the, no, teams can't now just afford to, the fact that we have Nunez and Diaz on the far side, and maybe somebody else coming in, that they can't afford to be doubling and tripling up the way we're moving the ball at the moment, because if they do that, we're going to move the ball quickly over to the flank, and then we're going to be in, and again. So I would expect to see maybe more of a spread of goals across our front three than we would have seen last year, which is very much that's a really Salah good point. In the groove, Mane in the groove, or somebody in the groove. We want 2 to 3 in the groove, at all times.
The Trent goal on Saturday, I was watching Liverpool FC before I came up, and they were doing a rerun of the game, and they were showing, we were switching, and then all of a sudden Thiago played a ball to Salah, and they all focused on him. 5 of them focused on him, and he just plays a little ball inside to Trent, who's completely free. Boom, top corner. And that's why I think he creates havoc, absolute havoc, because I think players must be looking at him going, this lad is back to, as you said, Dave, a couple of years ago when he was just on his touch, everything about him. And you'd wonder, like, when we're talking about contracts and personal lives, they're people as well. Like, so just because you're getting 200 grand a week, it's important stuff that's going on in your head. It has to impact your going to work kind of thing. And as you said, he's a patriot, and you know, you see how Mane came back from the African Cup of Nations. He was buzzing, and Salah seemed a little bit down in the dumps. And you think of the Champions League final, it was a little bit of a kind of a, you know, it was leggy, and they didn't look happy or up for it, you know. And it's chalk and cheese now to see him coming out on Saturday. He was incredible.
That's the funny thing I've seen on Twitter, guys. Sorry, just for a second. People talking about Haaland and Nunez. I know that it's two new boys, two big clubs against each other. Liverpool City's the way it's going to be. It's going to be one. It's either one or two wins the league. Let's be real. It's a toss of a coin. It's going to be tight again. I'm just hoping we're on the right side of the toss. But Salah is the bleeding fella to catch the golden boot. Don't be talking about Haaland and Nunez or even Kane. It's Salah.
Yeah.
I'm glad they're not talking about Salah being away. Forget about it. He'll just score goals in the background. Don't be worried about it.
I'd agree. Like they were talking about, like it looks like we are now set up to start like we did the year that we won it, and we had it won by Christmas, albeit with COVID and whatever. City always City start slow, and I think if City make the same mistakes that they made at the start of last season, I don't think we're going to draw the games that we drew this season. I think we're going to. I'm touching wood here. We could be away by Christmas, you know.
Now, there's a World Cup in November as well.
Oh yeah, totally.
Get the World Cup, I think. I think that's.
But look at who we lose. You know, we're not losing as many players. You know, and it's 5 weeks out for it. It impacts everybody. You know.
Oh yeah. No football.
So
5 weeks stops.
Totally, it's gone. It's gone. So
crazy in a way, though, isn't it? Crazy.
Assuming we don't get any injuries and everybody comes back, hopefully the players get knocked out early. I just think good start, get going. City drop a few points here and there, and if we have a bit of a gap, maybe going into the World Cup or Christmas, I'd be banking us.
Tell you, if you're going to get an injury, get it at that 5 weeks. get an injury and you'll be back after the 5 fucking weeks. That's too serious.
I think the way Klopp managed, it would have been so easy for him to just throw Nunez in the weekend, and if he had done that, it would have been the Nunez versus Haaland show.
Yeah.
By not starting them, you put all the pressure. Now, I'm not too sure if it was by design. I'd like to think it was.
I think it was.
So it put all the pressure on Haaland.
Yeah.
Let our two boys at centre half put the faith in them to manage him and handle him, which they did. And then Nunez comes on and he steals the show, right? Applying more pressure onto Haaland then. And then you see what happens thereafter, right? So I think that was a master stroke, to be honest with you.
And even your man is sorry, I couldn't cross you. Your man Nunez has come out today and said he found it really hard at the start coming in. Like, you have to remember, he's a kid. It's not like you're signing Salah when we did, and he'd been around at 5 or 6 clubs. He's played in the Premiership. He played in Serie A. This lad's played second division football in Spain.
In Spain.
Then gone to Benfica, which is a big club, but like not big. Had 1 season there. Do you know what I mean? And we're paying up to 100 million. Suddenly he's going to be the next big thing. He's coming in. He doesn't speak English. And he's playing against, you know, top players. Salah, you know, Mane was there when he came in. Henderson, Thiago, like the best players in their positions in the world. And I think the pressure has been on him. And that's why I think getting those couple of early goals, just relax, just get into it. And I think Keith's point, not starting him on Saturday was an absolute masterstroke.
Yeah.
Another thing I noticed just before we move on from that, which I thought was really interesting, was how many times you saw Trent take up an inside right almost position, almost like a 10. You know, gets his goal from that, but he did it on a few occasions where he didn't just hug the sideline to get down to whip a ball in. He actually stepped inside, and when he stepped inside, it created opportunities for him to either thread a pass rather than whip one in. You know, or even take a shot on himself, which he did. So, I think maybe against although we did it against City because we tried to catch them on the hop, but maybe against sides, we won't necessarily be doing the exact same thing we've been doing, which is get the ball out wide and let Trent try and deliver a good ball into the box. We need to start thinking about how we unlock teams differently, right? Because they're too happy to let us do that. I think we need to start moving more centrally and open teams up more centrally.
Yeah,
so
it's funny. I think you were away, Keith, and we did a show. And I kind of had a mad idea about Trent playing as a 10.
Yeah.
Do you know like some of his passing in there, and he's great at those 30-yarders because he's pinpoint, but he's got an incredible eye for the little 10-yard pass as well. They're just a little sneaky inside pass. And I was kind of thinking maybe in a game like Fulham, what about Trent as a 10? Like, because he's just so good, and forget about all the defensive. Yeah, you never know. What about get rid of all of the defensive responsibilities and stick him in there? And you're right.
Klopp was like a utility player. He liked players that can do a few things, a transformer from the 80s. Optimus Prime. He just like players that can do things like that. But I just see Sir Oswald as a good comment here. Young Carvalho has impressed in pre-season. He even did well when he came on Saturday, and you've Elliott looking like he's ready to rock as well. I mean, there's two young lads giving us so much energy to add on the fringes of the star quality that the James Webb telescope can't even pick up.
And I think they're game changers. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. You see Carvalho came on the last couple of games, and he was involved in the goals. And I think last season, Elliott was probably first choice there in that midfield, but for the injury. So they're not kids. Well, they're kids, but they're game changers.
Yeah. No, look, guys,
I think Elliott looked very comfortable when he came on against City. Very comfortable. Really liked what he did. I think Carvalho might take a little more longer time to settle, but definitely Elliott. The other thing to bear in mind, lads, is that they will get more time. They will get more opportunity with 5 subs. So So
I think the 5 sub rule, guys, obviously it'll help City. It'll help the big clubs, the big 6, big 8, whatever you want to call them, with the bigger squads, the more quality on the bench. It'll help. There's no doubt about it. With 15, 20 minutes to go, and you might still have 3 subs left after only using 2 up. If that doesn't help you, even against Fulham on Saturday, you might see it work for Liverpool. If it's been a really horrible dogged 0-0 or it's 1-1 with 20 to go, and you still have those subs on the bench. I
think good point there that's been raised there, that Salah won't score as many with a number 9. I actually think he will. I think he will. We're going to score more goals now. When you look at Haaland, I don't think City are going to score more goals with Haaland. He's just going to score some of the goals.
He will score goals.
Anyway.
He will score goals. No doubt about it.
But I think Nunez is going to score. He's going to add to our goal tally. Because
you looked at the amount of balls that were put across the bar. I did a thing the other night. It was 3 in the last 3 seasons. The amount of balls that have gone across the bar. There's a thing on YouTube, it's like a compilation thing where the ball goes across the box, the 6-yard area. Now, most of the time it was at Anfield, but there was no one fucking there.
Exactly.
There would have been a tap in. There would have been 40 fucking tap ins in the season.
So many chances. So many.
He's going to score goals. Just be in that 6-yard zone where he got the header against City. Yeah. That little zone, ghost in. He's a big lad. He had to crouch down. I mean, it was a 3-foot header. I mean, it was really awkward header.
But he had a really good header about 10 minutes before
just
that.
Wide,
when he got in between, I think Haaland was playing back there in one of the centre halves, and he got up. And if he had a little bit more power on it, that was going top corner.
Klopp has a tricky decision to make with those 3 amigos. He knew he had to move it, at least one. Sadio made the decision for him. I miss him, but somehow he had to go. Listen, Sadio apparently told him at Christmas that he was going anyway. He gave him a good 6 months' notice. It wasn't just a Ronaldo bombshell a week before your breakfast and he was told he was leaving. So, Sadio gave Liverpool the chance, and I think that's why Liverpool rushed in with Diaz in January as well. They had known Sadio was going, saying, right, Sadio's going. There's still Salah hadn't signed the contract, remember. There was a possibility of Sadio and fucking Salah going. You know, in Liverpool's mind, there was a real possibility that both were going. And then he said, right, we'll get Diaz in now. That covers Sadio. And if Salah goes, then we can go for someone like Nunez. But it's worked out fucking brilliantly for Liverpool. We've got the fucking 3 amigos now. It reminded me of Barnes, Beasley, and Aldridge. Remember that team back in 87, 88?
But it is the age now. Yeah, it's exactly like that. You know, when you think of the goal, like Aldridge was a great goal scorer, but he wasn't finesse. You know, he was those little slide-ins, old school headers, glancing headers, and little tap-ins.
I like that.
If Nunez gets 25 of those, happy days. Happy days.
I did a video yesterday. Nunez will get 90% of tap-ins. He'll get tap-ins or goalkeeper, fumbles,
second
or corner kicks. He's a big lad for headers or free kicks. I don't give a shit if he gets the goals. If he gets 20, 30 bleeding tap-ins, so what? Yeah. That'll be towards us winning the league.
I agree. Totally agree, yeah.
American Scouser, how are you, my friend? Hopefully you are well. Guys, we just have a quick word about young Carvalho. I know we mentioned him slightly. I really like this guy. Played for Fulham, of course. He might get some sort of a cameo against his former club this weekend, but he gives us something different as well. He actually runs for a young lad with that. Not say a huge amount of experience. He takes the ball up. He rarely is negative with it, even sideways or backwards. He runs with it. Do you ever notice that? He gets the ball, he goes forward all the time. Yeah. Forward passing, and he has pace. He's got intelligence for such a young lad. Same with Elliott, I suppose, but Carvalho's a bit more pace.
Very similar
I think Carvalho's not going to be as much of a bit player as you think. I think he's going to be involved.
Well, that's why I think the five sub rule is Klopp's dream. This is incredible for him. Like if things aren't working, you can basically change the front, the attacking midfielders and the strikers. It's a huge thing for him, And I agree. I think the two of them are going to play. They're going to play a lot of football. They might not start everything, but they're going to play a lot of football.
The centre-back pairings, I know Canate picked up a bit of an injury yesterday in a meaningless friendly Strasbourg. And do you know what? When I see that lineup, I knew to get hammered. Strasbourg finished sixth in the League One last year. Yeah. They're a decent side. They had their full team out. Liverpool had like 3 or 4 young fellas that were under 18. It was a good run out for the lads, good experience, but
we gave them goals though, to be honest with you. We might be played quite well.
Get 2 goals away.
Yeah. So
I'm just surprised Klopp played it, to be honest. To
be honest with you, like if you look at it, after Saturday, Jones picked up an injury in his cameo, his 1 minute or 2 minutes, whatever he had.
He left in a boot, apparently.
Yeah, Keita reported sick that morning, right? That he wasn't feeling it, or I don't know, whatever it was. But so for the players who are in and around the first team squad who didn't get much football that day, you could see why, we could give them a bit of a run out, and that's probably why they took it. To be honest with you, that's probably why they took it. So, but it just didn't work out that way. It didn't work out that way.
It didn't.
But in terms of a centre parting, instead of a centre pair parting, like it's Matip and Van Dijk as your number one choice again for the season, isn't it?
Yeah, and I think it's when Van Dijk, he just gives so much confidence. Like you see the other, like he's just a natural leader. He scares everybody. He doesn't actually do a whole lot of running, but he's a really intelligent footballer, and I think he frightens players. I think the other two, you'll definitely see Kanate and Matip play together, or maybe Gomez. But in the big games, it's Van Dijk +1, and to me, Matip's I think he's a better footballer. He can bring the ball forward. He's more attacking. I'm not saying he's a great attacker, but he gets into into midfield. Kanate is a bigger lad. He's much more defensive.
He's a monster.
He's a monster. He is a monster. I think he's still finding his feet.
He is. Yeah, I still think Matip reads the game far better than the other two. Reads the game better than Gomez, and reads the game better.
Matip was top 5, top maybe 3 or 4 player last season. No doubt about
it. For a period, he was better than Van Dijk.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. We have to talk about one man. We haven't mentioned him. I know it's an unusual talking about Liverpool, but Thiago Alcantara.
Quality.
I mean, the levels just keep going. I'll tell you, he's key to Liverpool winning a big trophy next season. If he can stay fit, we know he's had injury issues and stuff like that. But if this guy can stay fit for the big games, the important games where we need him, I think we've an unbelievable chance. This guy has just become so integral to Liverpool.
Yeah, and like they said, he wouldn't fit in. He's just a great footballer, and you see like we were talking a couple of minutes ago there. The defensive side of his game is incredible. He's got huge stats for winning headers, and he's only a small little lad.
Yeah.
Some of the balls he plays, and the little move that he does where he looks one way and he just turns his body and he's gone. He's absolute quality. And like the injury he got when he was out. It was an impact injury. I think was it with Charlison or one of them or Alan clobbered him. So he's not pulling muscles or anything like that, which would be if he avoids a nasty tackle, we'll have him for most of the games.
He goes in for a few weird tackles himself,
he does,
which he sometimes is lucky to come out of. You know that way.
He does. But I think that's a great sign from when you have somebody who's so
tenacious.
But he's such a good footballer. The fact that he has that bit to his game where he's happy to get stuck in and track back, and as I was saying, he complimented Diaz. I thought on Saturday he was brilliant. Really good defensively, and he's got such a great pass on him. Some of those crossfield balls to Salah were just ridiculous, unreal. Ridiculous. Yeah.
So guys, we obviously are confident. I know the game's not till Saturday, so I might even do one Friday or Thursday, but before the big game and the Premier League kickoff. But just before we go, we'll give it another about 5 minutes. The Premier League itself. I mean, Liverpool City obviously going for the league. You would say, do you think anybody comes near them? Who would be your top 4? Obviously, Liverpool City are in there. Spurs.
It'd be interesting to see how Spurs have bought well. They've got another manager. They've got a good manager. Arsenal have been looked very good in pre-season as well, and I think United will improve. I think that's the 5. It'll be 4 into 5 there. To be honest with
Nobody's
you.
saying that about Chelsea because we don't know what to fucking think about Chelsea. They're all over the
No,
show.
I think they're a bit of a basket case now at the moment. They could slip outside the top 5.
And I don't like what has happened, Chelsea. There, do you know what I mean? To go
Tuchel.
from winning, really, is it Tuchel?
Yeah.
Is that the issue?
I think he's too intense. I think he's too intense. I think, he can get teams up to it. He's probably similar to kind of the Mourinho stuff. He can get teams when he gets in there, people start buying into it, initially, but then people are like, get the fuck out of here.
Really?
Can't be doing this, can't be dealing with him. I think he's just too intense, to be honest with you. And it's all too much his way. I don't think he does.
But then you look at Conte.
I don't think he does arm around the shoulder very well, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
I think he's got issues in his man management.
Yeah.
I think he's a real task-driven kind of a manager. So he'll get you up there. So I think he needs to transition and bring through. And there's a lot of turnover of players because some players kind of go, can't be doing with this, and they're gone.
I heard there was a rumour he was leaving there about a month ago, remember?
Really?
There was he'd lost a lot of prestige. Arsenal hammered him 4 fucking nails. That was bad enough.
Yeah.
Being a derby game. But yeah, I don't know what to make it. I don't even know what to make United, to be fair. I don't think they'll be as bad as they were.
No, they won't be as bad as they were.
I think they'll be a lot more organised, harder to beat. Whether they're top 4 material, I don't know. With Liverpool City Spurs more or less nailed on, and then you throw in the likes of an Arsenal, even an awkward Chelsea in there.
The only thing I want to see about United is I expect them to be a lot stronger at home. I expect them to win the vast majority of their matches at home. They won't be coughing up as many results at home. I think they'll get the crowd up behind them, and that's a massive thing for them.
We played 3 games in at home.
I know.
In Old Trafford.
22nd. Yeah, we've got 2 Monday night games, haven't we, in a row?
Yeah,
15th
which is an
22nd.
interesting one. We've a while to go to that game, but you never know. You just never fucking know.
Yeah.
I still think like if United don't get somebody like De Jong or that type of player, they've got the likes of McTominay, Fred, Eriksen. Their midfield isn't that strong, and if they're going to stick with Ronaldo, which it looks like he's still there, I don't know what way that's going to pan out. Like they have some great players, but I don't see them, in the absence of a better midfielder coming in, I don't see them being much further ahead than they were last year. I don't see them getting top 4. I really don't.
There's still a month left in the window, so you never know.
Yeah.
But the 3 teams coming up, lads, Forest, Bournemouth, obviously we play Fulham the weekend. I think Fulham and Bournemouth are going to do very hard to stay up. I think they're, I won't say nailed on, but I think those 2, if you ask me who's going to go down even this early, I'd say Fulham, Bournemouth go straight back down. I think Forest have a chance of staying up just because of the ground, the fan base, the history of the club.
How many signings? They must have 12 signings or something. 10 to 12
that doesn't always work, but you know what I mean?
No, I know. But they've spent a huge amount of money.
Yeah, no, but I think they have a chance of staying up. I think they'll give a few teams a few frights, especially at the city, at that ground, the city ground in Forest. And I mean, Everton, we have to mention Everton. What are they going to do? They must be looking over the shoulder saying it's going to be a tough, long season, possible relegation season. You were lucky last year.
Yeah, like for me, with the new teams coming up, I thought Brentford were great last season.
I was going to mention them. I was just about to mention them.
You need to have, if not a full plan B, you need to have a different way of playing. And I would worry about the likes of Fulham, who appear to be this kind of like Brentford, very like Leeds, very attacking, let's go for it, and that'll get you points. But then you're going to be very, very quickly found out against the stronger teams. And even when you get down, like if Everton are in a battle with them, or Leeds, they have the players to kind of to win those types of games. Do you know what I mean? So I'd fear for those, all the 3 teams coming up, if they don't have, they need a bit of noose in those, bottom half of the table games against the teams that they're going to be competing against.
Brentford could struggle as well as that second season, so I wouldn't rule Brentford out from struggling in their second season.
Second season syndrome?
Yeah. It's difficult to maintain that, I think, so it's you're probably looking at 3 from 4 there, to be honest with you, aren't you? I think Everton will be fine, to be honest with you. I think they're probably going to be good enough to.
I think with Brentford, I think they were probably relying on Eriksen staying.
Yeah.
He was a huge part of their second half of the season when he came in, and now he's gone. So I think they're definitely going to be in the mix there.
But it's hard to see past it going to be a City Liverpool show again this season. I think it's going to be nip and tuck with both those teams well into the new year. Going for a championship. I can't see anybody else joining that party, to be honest with you.
No. let's hope at the end
They're
of the
just too
party.
good on Saturday. Like even when City did turn it on and started to play well either side of half time, you know, they looked good. To be honest with you, they looked good. You know, and on another day, Haaland, although he missed chances on another day playing against another
It's a
team, he's
hat-trick.
getting 2 and 3. You know, now the other thing is, will he score enough goals to make up for the goals they've lost with Sterling and Jesus? Doesn't necessarily improve them. You know, that's 20.
Plus, he has a
25
few
goals.
injuries. He has a few injury issues as well.
Yeah, no guarantee Alvarez is going to pop in there. You know, so.
Oh, he's a completely
They're
different type
probably
of
gonna be relying
player.
on- They're going to be relying.
Yeah.
They could be relying on a Gundogan and you know De Bruyne, and there's still talk of Bernardo Silva going to Barcelona. So
I want that one to happen. That's
Yeah.
so important that
Yeah.
happens.
Yeah.
like he played deep in the first half. He played deep in the first half, and they moved him further forward in the second half, and he caused us all sorts of trouble.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You
no,
know?
I can see Haaland probably not doing so well, and maybe coming out of that team for a while, and he'll resort to, you know, as you said, Gundogan, who scores goals for them, Foden, De Bruyne, Mahrez, those types of lads. Because I think Pep won't change the way he plays for a player. He'll expect the player to kind of come in and adapt. And I think Haaland, he's like a better Lukaku. He's a ball over the top. He's kind of one-dimensional now. Whether as a footballer he can develop and change, I don't know. But something has to change there between City and Haaland, because at the moment they look like
Grealish
chalk and cheese.
hasn't worked for Grealish.
No,
you know?
not at all.
He's probably gone backwards as a player, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
All he's doing now at the moment is looking for safe passes, safe balls, to be honest with you. You know, he's looking for a free kick and giving a safe ball out. He's not being very.
Talk of him going back on loan to Villa.
Really?
Yeah.
Fuck.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Like 100 million from, like, what was, seriously, lads, come on.
I knew it was a mistake at the time he made. He's not a £100 million player. I don't care what anybody says.
He's not.
He's a 50 million. That's fucking it. He's probably 100% English tax. You add another 50 to it. That's your 100 million.
Yeah, and I think
That's
City was probably the wrong team to join. You know, go to Spurs or go to Arsenal, where you're going to have, you know, you can probably be the kind of main man there, and you can dribble and go with the ball. City don't play that type of football. United even, exactly. And I think they were courting him for a while, you know. Wrong player at the wrong club. Everything about that was just a mistake, I think.
Yeah.
Deadly.
Great. It's great news. It's great news all around. Guys, I think we leave it there. 32 minutes in. I enjoyed that. Our first show back for the new season. We're all confident as Liverpool fans. Of course, we will always be confident with this manager. Klopp signed his new long-term deal, of course, as well, which helps. That's the best signing we have made as a club in a long time. I'm going for Salah Golden Boot. I'm going for Liverpool to win the league. It will be tight with City. Of course, it will, right to the end. I'm sure it'll go right to the wire, but I want to win it this year. I want number 20. I think it's going to be a fantastic season. If we stay injury-free with key players, we'll do it, I think, guys. It's been brilliant. Keith and Ivan, as usual, contracts signed and sealed. Big season coming up, guys. Hit the like, hit the share. Talk soon. Cheers.